It's Wednesday, the 29th of January. My name's Juan Brown. You're watching the BLANCOLIRIO channel, and by now everybody's seen the amazing F-35A ejection sequence that occurred yesterday at Eielson Air Force Base in Fairbanks, Alaska. Let's check it out and clear up some basic misconceptions about this ejection. Colonel Paul Townsend from Eielson Air Force Base gave a basic press briefing about the accident. It appears that this accident occurred in the training pattern or in the traffic pattern there at Eielson Air Force Base, and that the pilot did get a mayday call off on the radio just prior to ejection. He was having some sort of controllability problem with the aircraft. Now, it'll take us probably 2 years to get to the bottom of this before we get a final report from the U.S. Air Force that's been sanitized enough for civilian use. But here's what we know so far about the ejection itself. Let's go to the video that was shot by a KC-135 crew member there on the flight line at Eielson. So right away we see there are two aircraft. Usually they operate in a formation pair, especially in the event of an emergency. You'll have your wingman come up and check you out to see if you've got any sort of damage or assist you with your emergency inbound. The landing gear is down on the aircraft during this emergency. So they were coming in, obviously, for the landing from this emergency when he obviously lost control of the aircraft to unknown reasons at this time. First off, this is F-35A, U.S. Air Force F-35A, so it does not have a auto ejection seat. No, the pilot manually had to eject himself out of the aircraft. Second question that comes up often is how come the aircraft is so much higher than the pilot already in his parachute? Well, oftentimes you can zoom the aircraft up prior to ejecting, get it headed away from the ground to increase your chances of a successful ejection, and then bail out of there. Let's take a look at these Martin Baker ejection seats. Here's the Martin Baker US-16E ejection seat found in all variants of the F-35, and it is a 0-0 seat, so it is capable of safely ejecting you from a zero altitude and zero airspeed on the ground all the way up to 50,000 feet. Here's the ejection handle on these seats, so it's located between your legs down low here, as opposed to some of the earlier model or different model of ejection seats where the handles were located down here on your sides, or in some Navy operations up here over your head. Very important that you know where that ejection handle is, especially if you've switched aircraft from one type to another, or you've done an inter-service transfer and have switched from Navy aircraft to Air Force aircraft. Now, the auto ejection system here is only available on the F-35B, or the model of F-35 that has the short takeoff or vertical landing capability. Remember, the A models do not have, the Air Force A models do not have this vertical takeoff or landing capability. So therefore, they do not have the auto ejection feature. Notice at the time of printing of this brochure, 7 lives saved. If you go back here to the Martin Baker site, 10 lives saved to date. I suppose that means you can chalk it up to 11 lives now. Over 1,400 of these seats built. Another important point about this ejection sequence is you can hear the engine of the wingman's F-35, and you can also hear the engine running on the crippled F-35 just prior to impact. $81 million kablamo. Every time we get one of these $81 million kablamos, it always raises the question as to the cost effectiveness of these programs. These F-35s are terribly expensive. There have been over 1,100 of these aircraft produced, and so far there's been about 11 major accidents with the F-35. So about 1% of the fleet has been affected by total loss or Class A mishaps And in my opinion, the days of the manned aerial fighter aircraft are numbered, and each time we get one of these expensive crashes only tends to shorten that time frame as UAVs or unmanned aerial vehicles begin to take over the technology, especially drones and swarms of drones. Thank you for your support of this channel, especially the folks over here on Patreon that make this content possible, because it's quite often content just like this that is demonetized by YouTube as content not suitable for all advertisers, or, in some cases, inappropriate video game play. Thank you for your support.